pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda, we have the approval of the organization meeting and minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Panic to approve the organizational meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Approval of the January 10th meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Panic to approve the January 10th town board meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Financial report is not available. We're still working on it, so.
Who does those?
Bookkeepers.
What takes them so long? I mean, we normally have them every month. This makes 2
Well,
months.
sometimes around the first of the year, they might not have. She was in here today, and they'll have credit.
How can you pay bills if you don't know how much money we got and
Well,
stuff?
We know how much money's.
Well, we don't.
Yeah.
Can you share that with us then?
Well, I don't have the number right in front of me, so if there was a problem, the bills would get paid.
Because I thought there was something in one of the meetings, like we were $7,000 short or something or other. Something was made mention of it, and they said maybe the American Rescue Fund could help out with that. So I'm just going back from what I saw, and
Yeah. But they'll be done next week, I'm sure. Budget transfer. Resolution number 16, this is item number 12. Any questions about that?
This is taking from 21 to,
No, it's all 21.
all 21, taking it over, or,
Yeah.
all right, within 21.
Some are short, some are over, and then
All right,
they're shuffling money around.
all right, because I still have one invoice from the tree lighting ceremony that I'm trying to figure out, so that's got to go in the old budget.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure this didn't affect that. All right.
Is there a motion to approve it?
Move.
Second.
Second. Motion by Councilman Pacer, second by Councilman Deason to approve resolution number 16, authorizing budget transfers for 2021. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Oh, what's this?
Thing one.
All right, yeah, you guys wanted me to get a hold of the Association of Towns. Now, if you follow what they want us to do and send them an email, they don't get back to you very fast. But if you call them, they do get back to you very fast. And matter of fact, the attorney called me back within 2 hours of me calling the secretary and saying, you're not getting back to me very fast on the email.
Yeah.
Any way you look at it, they currently don't have anything going on with, or have any additional information on Time Warner versus Spectrum. Now, you also had the contract available, so I went through the contract. Section 2.5 is extremely clear that it is not an exclusive contract. So, let's see, where is it? Get the exact wording here. 2.7, 2. All right, non-exclusive 2A, sorry for that. This franchise granted to Charter shall be non-exclusive. Nothing in this agreement shall affect the right of the town to grant other franchise to construct, operate, or maintain a cable service. So if you got other people that want to come in, this contract is no burden to them. Now, but the kicker is Section B. If the town grants a subsequent franchise, that when taken as a whole, upon consideration of all material obligations, it is more favorable or less burdensome to subsequent franchisees than this agreement, then Charter may request an amendment to this agreement. So you have to allow them to compete. So if we have somebody that wants to compete, you have to let them know that people want to compete and they can match. So. I also, since the way we have been expanding the system is through the franchise money. Well, there's nothing in this contract end to end that says how we spend that franchise money. That's something we must do. We must have agreed to ourselves quite some time ago.
Yeah.
So, and I checked with Heidi to make sure we were up to date on the franchise payments, and she said we're right up to date through last year and expecting the first quarter to come in.
This
So,
check came today.
How much is it?
It was around $80,000, I believe.
Yeah.
That's quarterly or?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't ask.
It's in the bank. I'd have to look on the
That's how much the check was for?
That's how much a deposit I made.
Yeah.
Can that be used to get internet to people that don't have it then in the town?
That's what
I mean-
it always has been.
That's,
Oh,
what,
okay.
that's what it's for, yeah.
Oh. So do those people like on Bartoff Road and what is the other one, Mill and School have a shot at getting it anytime soon?
Well, it's just like water. I mean, it depends on how many people are on the road, you know. How many people we can service with the money that we have available. Bartoff doesn't look too good because there's only 3 houses on it.
There's 5 and it's only a
There's
mile long.
Yeah, well, I'm looking.
But you chew up the money pretty.
You don't have it either?
No.
You chew up the money pretty fast because I think to come from the end of Morganville, it would be, I think, 7 poles down to Thwing Road. They wanted $22,000.
Well, you just got 80,000, so.
So 80,000 gets you probably
When this
20
whole
poles.
COVID thing started, because I'm dealing with, what is his name? Holly Brooks, Holly, because they have a study out on the internet, getting people in the internet area, and they, our neighbor didn't have it, and when this whole COVID thing started, she contacted Holly. They wanted like 8,000 just to run it across the road, for God's sakes. I have it and my neighbor doesn't. That's so ridiculous. They have it now after a letter to Albany. They came and Time Warner put it right in for nothing, or Spectrum. They just pay their monthly fee.
Yeah, the county's doing a study, and we got, you must not have recognized me because of my
Don't.
beard. I said hello to you.
Yeah, I did say hello. I thought you were someone else, to be honest with
And
you.
right now they're gathering all the information, but it's gonna take at least till the end of this year until we get any traction on it. But we do have, we did set aside $2 million for the county as a whole right now to help out with internet connections, so. Just gonna take a lot longer to research and put everything together, so.
Well, one of the things that's going on, and when you go through the what's available on the net, you have around 218, you had a big stink between the state and Spectrum about them acting according to the state guidelines on rural broadband. Now, you can find all kinds of articles about the split and how the state wanted to decertify them. You can't find anything about how they got back together, and that's also what I asked the attorneys at the Association of Towns. Do you have anything on how they reconciled? And they said no. So, do you have anything on how they reconciled?
No, I do not.
All right. So, it's going on at numerous levels. You have the state level with rural broadband, you have at the county level for rural broadband, and then you have our franchise agreement.
Right, and I know the town of Batavia does the franchise too, and they've got money saved up in order to help out with broadband as well.
Yep. But it would be much preferable to have you pay for it, and then we could use it to reduce our taxes, so.
We'll see what we can do. It just takes a little bit longer than doing that.
All right.
But $2 million isn't gonna go far with the outlying areas in the county.
Right.
You know, that's,
You know, and the thing I absolutely love is they want to charge, you know, I used the example of 7 poles for $22,000. Well, I guarantee you that's not what they're paying for property tax on that wire being strung. So if that's what it's actually, you know, we should be taxing them at what it's actually worth, but again, they're considered a utility. You do utilities according to the state formula. So that was interesting.
Yeah. Any updates, I'll let you guys know as soon as possible.
Are they the only game in town? I mean,
Right now, yes.
Yeah.
Empire, but
Empire's
Empire
only in the
doesn't come
city
out
right
this
now.
way. Yeah, they don't come out of the city.
If you look at, say, Bergen, you had 2 competing companies that were looking for the franchise in Bergen. The one that won out was the one that covered everybody. So we didn't have that. Only, it wasn't even Time Warner, somebody before that, wasn't it? Or was it Time Warner?
Time Warner's the only one.
All right.
can the town reach out to like somebody like a Verizon or something like that to try to get them to come here? Or?
Well, don't forget that's a different service, though.
Yeah, I realize that. I mean, I think that just having the threat of
Because I'll be honest with you, on Twain Road, I don't think there's anybody that's on a Verizon line because they're so compromised. Everybody's on a cell phone because they're just terrible.
Landlines are all junk.
Yep. And that's how they do their, what's the name of it when they run it through the lines but at a higher speed? DSL, yeah. Yeah, but then what you have is all of a sudden they're putting up new poles on Twain Road. And I asked the guy, why are you putting up poles? And he goes, well, Spectrum requires requires adequate poles to string their wire on, and that was part of the agreement that these marginal poles get put up, and all of a sudden they ran broadband down the road without coming out of our franchise agreement or anything.
Doesn't make sense.
So it's strange.
I have a question back to this 80K. If that's one check this month, how much do we have from them altogether? Have we spent any of it? This franchise thing has been going on for Since what, 2014?
We
What
have- we-
yeah, what was the last one was,
Did we do
Randall.
Randall Road.
Yeah.
Oh, so you have done some roads with it.
We've done, we have a lot of
I
roads.
think we went to the town line with that.
Yeah.
Andy?
What sort of coverage does the town have? Do half the people have broadband or 80% or
There
what?
used to be a map up here, where'd that go to?
I don't know.
Is it behind there now?
No, it was, I don't know who took it down or why, but I'll have to see if I can find it, maybe we'll put it back up.
I bet you it's behind, hang on,
That's Water District behind it, Ron.
let's see.
Yeah, years ago, there was a map.
No, it wasn't that long ago.
I can't think of the guy's name, too.
If you had to guess, what would you say the percentage of people have broadband here?
Close to 70%.
So within the last couple of years, it used to be
Yeah,
up
no,
there.
I
What's
got
that?
it
Is it in the
up to,
closet?
up to Cedar Street, they gave me a printout of the whole thing.
Yes, ma'am.
I did notice it was missing, but I didn't know why.
No, these are all old as the hills, I don't see anything that current.
Right.
Nope.
Yeah. I heard it too. No. Yeah. Most of yours all.
So I think we got that map when we did Randall.
Yeah.
All right.
Back to the Time Warner agreement here, is there any action that we need to take on that, or is that just information?
I was trying to remember why was the request made for me to do that research? Is somebody trying to come in, or?
See if we can get some more cable in town.
All right.
Okay, enough said about that then? Fire department report, have you all seen that? I think they emailed it to everybody.
We got it on email. We just gotta make a time that we can meet with them, like we did before.
Yeah, that was good.
Pick a Monday night that we don't have a meeting.
How many calls did they have? Did they give you all the call rundown?
Let's see. I'll read the first paragraph here. Your Stafford Fire Department answered 39 calls for service for the month of January, including a vehicle fire, 2 structure fires, and 2 snowmobile trail accident rescues involving deployment of our rescue sled. The new rescue truck, number 95, was put in service, and Utility 90 has been voted to surplus to be sold. Fortunately for everybody involved, Samantha called us, sent a letter that she wants to do a recreation program again. Any questions about that? We're ready for that.
Everybody's got that letter. I saw that. I saw the letter Saturday, so.
Well, maybe that would be a good idea. Someone make a motion that we appoint Samantha Call as recreation director.
So moved.
Okay.
Need a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Pacer, second by Councilman Deason, that we appoint Samantha Call as recreation director. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Cleaning bids.
Bob,
Yes,
may I say something in between the next item?
yeah.
I'd like to bring up the name of Colleen O'Connor for the Stafford historian, unless that job has been filled.
No, good.
Colleen O'Connor is the priest at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. She lives in the historic house behind the church at the Four Corners. She is a member of our Stafford Historical Society board, and She is a librarian by vocation. I don't think I got that right word on the end there.
Yeah.
But her first schooling is as a librarian, and so I was thinking that those skills would be very useful in that job.
All right, well, we can consider that, maybe we can, make.
Why don't you have her send a letter? That's how we always do
Yeah,
those.
we can do something next month, maybe.
Probably have to legally advertise anyways, correct?
Yeah, I don't know what the legal, there are legal requirements, she probably has those requirements.
No, I don't.
I don't know what the legal requirements are, but I know you can't just walk in off the street and say, I wanna be your,
So I think that you would like you to provide that for her so that she would know that she was.
yeah, well, we'll have to find out where.
I spoke with Lynn Velocio on this the other day, and she's going to advise me the steps, and there are certain, it's something new, certain ways and requirements and all that, so I will hear from Lynn soon on that,
Okay.
so, okay. She's willing to help us.
Cleaning bids, you wanna open them now, or you wanna,
That's right.
you
Some
wanna
are sealed.
have a
Okay.
couple of people get together and open them at some more, a better time, or how do you wanna do that?
You'd have to open them and interview anyway, so you guys can make it another night or something.
How many are there? Are there a lot?
There's quite a few.
There's probably 10.
I'd be willing to sit down and open them and look at them and interview it if necessary.
That's a good idea. Thank you for your service.
Anybody else?
I just need somebody to do it with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay.
We can do it.
And then we can present it at the next town board meeting.
Okay, here.
Yeah, it's quite doable. Matter of fact, after Terry stopped, I stopped in and I did all the bathrooms and the sweeping, and they could have done with a little more work than they had been, and they're quite doable within a 3-hour period.
Good. So you will get together at your convenience and let us know.
You need another one?
So,
No,
run
usually
around
around-
to schedule a time. Barb, would you like to just hold on to them in your office for now?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yep.
You're still working, so probably a night,
Yeah, night or,
another
Yeah.
Monday night?
yeah, or weekend, whatever is good for you.
I like doing the Monday nights.
Next Monday's zoning, so I'll be at that.
Yeah, but we can just go in one of the other offices, it doesn't matter. Want to do it next Monday?
No, next meeting's zoning, I want to be at zoning.
Oh, you want to be at some,
Yeah, I
all
wanna
right.
be at zoning.
All right.
Hurricane Technologies, what, the service, we do not have. They service the, containers in my office, but not the rest of the building. They came there, the hurricane came in with Heidi and Marcy, and we wanted them to handle it in there, so they've been doing that, so
How often do they come?
as needed. I don't know if there's any,
Not that much, really.
I don't think so.
So, Barb, do you have experience with hurricanes?
I have had hurricane in a couple times. They are coming again Wednesday to do some work for me. And I find them very available, very professional and knowledgeable. I had called the previous IT guy. I left 3 text messages and 2 phone calls and never heard from him. And I needed help now. And hurricane was wonderful. They came, they did what they needed to be done, and I was very happy.
So is this something we need to approve so Bob can sign up?
Yes.
But there's no use putting a retainer down on it.
No, not for the number of times.
No, that's why I asked how many times they
Do
come.
we have any type of retainer, do we have any type of obligation with our prior?
No, there was a contract signed in 2014, a yearly contract, and I did not see anything since.
All right.
do they charge per visit, or is it a set?
I would say they would charge per visit, but I don't,
If you
Yeah.
don't do a retainer,
no retainer, yeah.
then it's these prices.
No, and most of the time, they can fix it
Over the phone, or over the wire.
yeah, once they get the system fixed, up and running like it should be, then they can do
And they can do
most
the
of
road.
it out of their office, and it's,
And one of the line items on here is phone support at quarter-hour increments.
Yeah.
At $1.25 an hour.
yeah,
So,
yeah, they fixed mine in like 5 minutes.
that's right, you got them up there, don't you?
Yeah. And there's-
I make a motion that we have the supervisor sign the hurricane technology contract for 1 year.
It's kind of a no-brainer. Second. The other guy doesn't show up.
Yeah. We have to have service.
So except for that ancient Toshiba, is everything up and running now?
Yes.
All right. That thing needs Windows 7 loaded back on it, from what I saw. How long has it been since Windows 7? A few years.
Yeah.
But all you boot the thing up, you get the blue screen of death, so.
So motion by Councilman Mullen, second by Councilman Pandy to authorize supervisor to sign the Hurricane Technologies agreement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
It was, something that we need to, just do anyway.
Okay. And this is just an FYI thing? Just a
Yeah, we
discussion?
just,
I didn't put it in packets, but it's just. a
we have
discussion.
shared services with all the towns and villages in Genesee County, so we just gotta renew our 5-year contract, right?
That's what that is.
Yeah, that's just, yeah,
You wanna see it?
I've seen it, I know what it is, yeah.
it's just so, you know, you see our trucks on the other side of the county, and Pembert's out helping us, so be,
Not to worry, right?
don't worry. It does save money,
Yeah, yeah.
especially you get on a paving job and 18 trucks, you know, does help.
The only way you can do it on your own is to hire it out,
Right.
you know.
Any questions about the town of Stafford permit law?
No.
Not much there.
Okay.
Are we on the CEO and ZEO report?
Yep, that's what we just talked about, there's two.
Can you share what was on the report? Oh. I know I had questioned before his hours and time off and everything, and Bob, you said you were gonna address it at the organizational meeting. I had just had knee surgery and I didn't attend that. I'm assuming that was probably a,
Well, that's one of the reasons why we have this.
okay, so that's all he has to do? Does he do timesheets?
No,
No timesheets?
he's,
So how do you know what hours he works?
he doesn't have to keep a time sheet.
Is he considered part-time, full-time? I mean, he works 15 hours a week, according to his hours that he told me.
How does he accumulate comp time then if you don't have to keep track of his hours? How do you know he needs comp time coming? opt, you know?
No, I can't answer that.
Why not?
Well, I can't answer it, that's my answer.
That's not an answer.
Well, yeah, it is.
Oh, it isn't? Does he get comp time is what I'm asking.
Not for salary.
He's-
Well, it was commented a couple months ago that he took time off, it was comp time.
Does he get
Salary.
vacation?
If I recall, I was the one that
Right.
made the comment, and it was simply a question, as if he had comp time.
No, you
Not a
said,
statement.
no, you said it was probably comp time.
No, I didn't. I
We look-
said
we
it
look-
could be comp time.
That's what you said.
So he's on salary. His scheduled hours are roughly 15 hours a week. So is that considered part-time? It's certainly not full-time. So I'm just confused. I mean, how many part-time and full-time employees does the town have?
Full-time is town clerk, highway superintendent, that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, there were 3 motor operators.
Do the part-time people
Oh, yeah,
get,
And then
Steve's
your,
crew.
your court clerks.
does part-time people get
They're,
vacation?
they're full-time? The clerks are full-time, Barb?
I'm sorry?
Your
Not my clerks, the court clerks.
Oh, the court clerks, I'm sorry, okay, court clerks. So these other 2 clerk typist positions that were hired and approved, is that like they're gonna be here all year? Or is that a temporary position to get things up and running with the changeover?
No, they're going to be on and off, they'll be appointed, well, have been appointed, they'll be here when they're needed.
Okay, do they have job descriptions? I mean, what are they gonna do? Where did that come out of the budget? I'm just confused, we went from 1 town clerk and a part-time girl to 2 clerks, or to 1 town clerk, 2 deputies, and now 2 clerk typists.
No, the deputies are clerk typists, that's the.
Oh, they're all clerk typists? Thought you had a deputy.
Those are deputies,
Yeah.
and clerk typists as well. in Beck.
Jane and,
Oh,
was
that's-
it Jane I met, Barb?
It's Walton Bay,
Walton
okay,
Bay.
all right, okay.
Jane and Michelle are my.
Jane and Michelle.
Yep.
Your deputies
Right.
are Jane and Michelle.
right.
Your clerk typists were to get you from
Well, you
the
can't
start
have-
of your term until the organizational meeting when we could assign your
Well, you can't.
deputies.
You can't have 4 deputies.
No,
That's why we had labeled the other 2 as clerk.
Well, that's, I mean, what are they going to do?
They're done.
they're done.
Oh, they're done. Oh, see, I didn't know that. I thought that was a regular position that was gonna stay on. They're done. Oh,
It's just a temporary.
That's what you asked.
Okay.
So get back to the part-time people, do they get vacation time?
Yes,
They do.
yes.
really? Because according to the handbook, they didn't. That's, so your handbook said part-time employees get no benefits.
So your handbook's wrong.
I don't recall them not being excluded from vacation.
Part-time,
Alls it said was part-time employees under 30 hours get no benefits.
They
I don't know
get,
what you're
they
talking.
get no health care.
Well, it said benefits. It didn't say healthcare.
so how much time does a part-time person get?
Right now,
Yeah. Right now, last
right
year,
now, anybody, except for the ones on the contract, get 2 weeks. Because we did a very soon,
2
we
weeks
launched the
based-
handbook, we launched it 2 weeks for everybody.
2
Now,
weeks based on-
Should that be updated? Sure.
2 weeks based on their hours that they work? So they get
Yes.
15 hours vacation pay?
Yes.
So, oh, okay.
Was that way last year too?
Did we have the handbook last year? I don't think so.
It come out mid,
Well,
No,
what was the
Mid-year.
rules last year? Did you have rules last year?
no.
You had no rules. You ran a town with no rules. That don't
Why
make
do you
any-
think we worked on the
That
handbook?
don't make any sense. So everybody that got all that vacation last year was just give it to them, say, here's vacation, take it?
No, they had no, they actually had no vacation whatsoever.
They didn't.
Nothing.
They
so
didn't.
they didn't get paid.
No, he's not
They weren't
saying.
here.
If you're salaried, you get paid, but was no official, like, I
You guys
have
are-
no
you
official
guys are good.
vacation.
Right.
You guys are good.
No.
No, we have a handbook.
You're good, yeah, you're just good, okay, I understand. Bless your heart.
Okay. EW Solar. Now, I believe they are, have you met with the ZBA? Is that your next?
Yep, so we're going to the zoning board on Monday of next week.
Yeah.
And originally they had sent our application to the county planning board. We had a meeting with the county planning board director and staff to talk about prepping for the meeting. Felipe informed us that because of some of the requests we're asking for variance, his recommendation to the zoning board, or the planning board, was to not support the project. We talked through why that position was being taken, and he said it's a matter of precedent. Typically, when you're asking for certain pieces of a law to be altered, there's a threshold for what they're comfortable with. And because there's certain setbacks that we're asking to be removed completely, that was something that in the past, the board has always taken the position of not supporting, that it should be done at the local level. So even if they do vote not to support it, we're gonna be on that call. Felipe did encourage me to make the case to the board. This would be the third project that the county board would be reviewing of ours. We have one in Elba that's already approved, one in Pavilion that just went through county approval. So this would be the third. And we are gonna make the case that the only two provisions in the town that make the project not viable, as you all know, are the 1,000-foot setback and the 2,500-foot setback. What I'm here tonight to share is just a quick rendering of what the 200-foot setback looks like, how it impacts the project, and different ways we can discuss what that would look like if we followed the 200-foot setback. My thought is that in the application, there were a lot of requests, and I know there's a lot to digest there. So my initial thought is let's look at the low-hanging fruit, which is the 200-foot setback, because that's one that we can work within. And just discuss why we asked for the variances there, what that looks like on the project and on the parcels of land. And I also asked the Woods to join me today because part of the request for the variances was initially when we approached them about leasing the land, they had requested that we not build in certain parts so that they could continue farming operations. So that was what initially spurred the setback, and then looking at what the town law was, I saw, well, this actually works within the intention of the law to bring it further away from the road, because that was some of the initial comment, was other projects in the area were built, they were very close to the road, lacked proper screening. So the setback variances actually had a dual purpose. One, to accommodate what the Woods had requested, and also what I felt worked within the parameters of the law. So I'll hand these out. I got just a quick simple.
So, Dan, that being said, you've already presented this with a 200-foot setback. We've seen it. So
Yeah.
why are we here again?
Because one of the requests that the county had was along the shared property line, along the middle. They actually gave us language that other towns have used to allow the removal of a setback when both parcels are owned by the same person. Given that creates a 400-foot, basically no man's zone, I thought that was an opportunity to talk about a simple way to remove at least one barrier that I thought was semi-common sense. So I thought that would be initial conversation, that the town could pass an amendment to the law if you wanted to. But that way it would make it less variances that we're requesting, and it would fit within your law a little better.
So, excuse me for asking you, but let me get this straight. The county is not in favor of it?
No, that's not the case. It's a precedent issue. So Felipe actually explained to me that they were going to issue two different reports. One was going to be, because we are asking for a specific portion of the law to be removed completely. Typically, if you look at a 100-foot setback, if you ask for 50% of it, that's within a standard deviation that they're comfortable with normally. If you go to 0, their policy is that you should be asking the town to rewrite that law, in effect, to accommodate it. My argument is that's exactly why area variances are around, for the town to have the discretion for that. So he's kind of muddying the waters a little bit there. But their comments to us were that the project fits within the county makeup. There's portions of your law that are so far outside of the norm that because we're asking for them to be removed, their position is that we should come back to the town to ask you to amend the law, which I think we can all agree in conversations does not sound like it's gonna be something that happens. So then we're back to asking for a variance. So my purpose for coming today was to maybe start with some of the simpler variances and see if that is something that either A, the town board wants to put a provision into the law that says if both parcels of a shared property line are owned by the same person, then a setback is not necessarily needed, which is a unique scenario for these two parcels.
Unless, of course, it gets sold.
Unless, of course, it gets what?
Sold.
Why would it get sold? If the same person owns both pieces of property and it's farmland, why would we sell that?
But then your rule would apply.
Yes.
Farm's been in the family over
75
years.
years, we don't plan
We'd
on
like to
selling.
continue to keep it in the family.
We don't plan on
That's fine, but that
selling
would be the reason why you would keep the law the way it is.
So, Dan, before we go further, I do have a question. The evening that your attorney was here representing BW Solar, I had brought up to him that there's errors in the application and that we would like them errors fixed and reapplied. Has it been done?
Okay, we could do that immediately.
This was 2 months ago. Apparently he didn't tell you that, right?
He did inform me of it. He informed me that the board had said that that was grounds for dismissing the application completely. I think it's fair to say of a 500-page document to have a few misspellings does not automatically disqualify.
It's not misspelling.
It was a whole different town.
Yeah, and we actually
It's not
use
a misspelling.
several of our decommissioning plans, operation and maintenance plans are approved and reused throughout towns, and if they give us specific requirements that they would like to see, we do amend them. So that's so that we're staying uniform across the entire state. And these are applications that are vetted by several towns' engineering firms. So in terms of using the wrong town name, I do apologize. That's us using a type of decommissioning, operation and maintenance plan, something of that nature that has been vetted before. And if it doesn't meet all the requirements, we can update it to make sure it incorporates more.
There's also a spot where you're talking about, instead of talking about 6 and 6, you're talking about 5 and 6. There's not a separation there. Again, these are things I'm finding. Why weren't these found? I mean, I understand you use templates, right?
Mm-hmm.
But these are documents you're handing in for application, and there's noticeable errors in them. I got concerns about that.
Okay, we can definitely address those. So the next steps for us would be to resubmit the application with any errors or typos, town issues corrected. And at that point, what would be the next step for the town?
I would think you'd want to get your variances cleaned up before you go through putting in another submission. Thoughts?
Well, so if I can just pull it back for a second, the intent of coming here and talking this through with the board is to get that input. And I guess the frustrating part is every step of the process, we've been met with some kind of pushback. And I'm simply here to ask, this is the intent of what we're trying to achieve, and this is why we're asking for the variance. And every time we try to put forth a request to simply have the conversation, it seems to get thrown off track by other things. So just simply asking on a preliminary basis, a 200-foot setback. This is going to be brought to the zoning board because it is under their purview. But I'm here to make sure the board's informed of what we're doing, what our next steps are. So you don't have to chase me down, ask questions. I want to make myself available to answer them. I'm happy to do a workshop where we can resubmit and then rip through the whole packet, ask questions, put me to task. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I'm happy to answer those. It just seems like every time I try to bring that to this board, the zoning board has been receptive. They've asked very good questions. They've asked follow-up questions. I feel as though every time I bring it to this board, I'm kind of pushed back or pushed away. And I'm happy to do whatever the town would like me to try to achieve. If I can do it, I'll make it happen. If I can't do it, I'll tell you. I won't waste anyone's time. I feel like I've been pretty upfront and honest that the two pieces of the law we really can't accommodate are the 1,000-foot and the 2,500. Everything else, I'm happy to figure out how we can move this thing around to make it work. I'm open to suggestions.
What's your suggestion on the 2,500-foot thing?
That it's simply not even feasible. There's no financial mechanism in which we can accomplish it. And I've said
And
that from
actually, the way
very
the law
beginning.
is, it leaves it completely up to you to make that work. And you haven't even tried, so,
We've explored it. We've asked financial institutions what that would take. We asked our attorneys what that would take. And there are so many loopholes in which we could go down that path, and we could get 99 out of the 100 residents to sign up for it, and the last person says, well, I want some kind of outrageous agreement, and it's done.
Have you gone to any of the residents in that area?
We have not yet because we can't even figure out a starting point for it. It's not even something that is legitimately operational for us to put into play, to monitor, and then to reasonably pay out if for whatever reason there is some kind of legal action within the first 10 years of the project being built. There's no way to legitimately say, I'm selling my house 5 years after that was built, and I can financially prove, and in a court of law, prove that that facility right there caused my house to sell for less than what I expected it to. I mean, it's true. And I talked to the town attorney. He even said there's almost no way to enforce it. I've talked to our attorneys. I talked to other town boards. I've talked to the county. The county even said that they advised the town not to implement it. So I
don't recall that, but nor do I recall it from the attorney, but go on.
You talked to our town attorney?
Did we ever get that other attorney for this?
I'm working on
Okay.
Was there anybody but town board president?
Yeah, we had them here. We went through the entire law with the town attorney.
And the town
Yeah.
attorney said it's
The
okay.
portions, there were portions in there that duplicated state law. We removed them. Because we had some parts that duplicated seeker. And those were all removed.
Okay, how about the other errors that they've got?
Those went through the town attorney.
I think the law was written with the intent that it was trying to protect the people that live here. I mean, so far, all you've said is that it's not feasible, but, I mean, anything's feasible. I mean, I deal with contracts all the time. I mean, if your company wants to make people feel safe and, not put them off, then I would think that you'd find a way to make it happen. That's the case.
And I completely understand the sentiment of why it was put in. But I would challenge the board or anyone here to find a situation in New York State in which this type of provision was ever used on any project.
Doesn't
If it
matter.
is,
You're
I would
talking
be
about,
happy
you're
to.
talking about our town, not the rest of the state.
I understand that, so an example would be, the town attorney sent me a letter saying that if we're gonna go for a pilot, we would like a community host agreement. I could say we could give the town a community host agreement of $10,000. I could say that today. And there's no financial way of me backing that up once the project's built. I could say that we could try to accommodate every single person in the 2,500 foot region, but at the end of the day, we're never gonna spend $100,000 on something we know is almost impossible to achieve. We're talking over 100 individual property owners, some of which are north of 90. So it's a mechanism that I understand the town's intent. We've gone down this path before. I completely understand the town's intent around it. And at the end of the day, if it's something you're telling me will never be removed, then at the end of the day, I guess I gotta tell my bosses that the project's just never gonna happen.
There you go. Case
Tell 'em.
closed.
Tell
There
'em.
you go. No,
Drop
that's
it.
the way we're going.
If we don't wanna change it, drop it.
Yeah.
Town board's in
Simple.
charge.
That's why we drew it, we drew
That's
it
why
up.
we did
That's why it was
the
drawn
solar
up.
line.
If we change it for you.
We gotta
somebody
change
else
it
is
for
gonna-
every other solar company that wants to do it.
So again, that's not actually true. You have zoning laws. There are only two portions of this town that are zoned to allow for solar. One's industrial, one is industrial park. I do know from having talked to several folks, the reason that those parcels in light pink were zoned for industrial park was the intent to have, or eventually have, the Economic Development Center or the college expand. So there's a huge push against solar right now, but I can tell you for a fact that other things can go in that parcel that I would venture to argue are worse than solar.
Which is,
Talking large buildings, parking lots.
Parking lots.
what's wrong with parking lot? It's not a sort,
We're
it's
not
not,
talking
it's not an
about
eyesore.
We're talking about solar, we're not
Yes,
talking about.
solar's an eyesore as far as I'm
I don't
concerned.
think solar is an eyesore.
Oh, you don't? Well, go
No,
down
I
to, go
don't.
down to Five Corners and see what that looks like.
I've been there.
Yeah, you see the weeds growing up around it?
I have.
Okay, that's not an eyesore to you. It is to me.
We live right there.
I know where you live. And to me, it's an eyesore.
I
That's
don't
my
think
opinion.
Anybody wants to see a solar farm.
Exactly.
I think the location that we are trying to keep it in is very secluded. If you give us the variances that we need to maintain it there, to keep it back towards the railroad, it would not be like up near the corner of Byron Road, if we could keep it back, and we would still continue to farm and grow corn out around the edge, where the weeds would be up next to it, but corn would be beyond that, and we would continue to farm it.
But in the winter, it would be all solar.
It would
'Cause
not be
nothing
all
wins.
solar.
Well,
If it's
nothing-
over and back, you wouldn't even see most of it.
Most of it. There's a key word.
The
I don't wanna see
big
any of it.
question as I see it, they own the property now.
Thank you.
In any given time frame, they can sell it, lose it, or whatever. And then you're stuck with dealing with somebody else who don't care about what Stafford is.
Do you have children
have
that are
farm.
gonna go on to farming?
Yes,
Yeah.
and grandchildren.
Of course.
I have a grandson in 8th grade. He's at Bremen Bergen,
So
and
what?
he's an FFA. He has 5 animals on our farm. He shows 4-H, and he loves agriculture. Absolutely
Then you
loves
should keep it all
agriculture.
farmland then instead of solar panels. Simple.
But we can't afford the taxes because the taxes keep going up and up and up.
No, they go up,
But
everybody's
if you
property
like
goes up.
farming, why are you letting them take over part of your farm?
Grow cannabis, get that, that's
I
gonna
am
be the
not
next
growing
one.
cannabis. I'm sorry, I don't like weed. No,
And I don't
thank
like-
you.
And I don't like solar panels.
So at the end of the day, everyone owns their own property, and they have no right to tell you what to do with your land, just as you
Oh,
don't.
yes, they do. Oh,
So-
yes, they
So
Oh,
at the end
yes,
of the
they
day,
do.
they are choosing to do this for their personal reasons. Having spoken with the Woods on many occasions at their home, their intent was to continue to farm certain portions, maintain their cattle operation, and augment that. Farming is not a cheap, or frankly, no one's gonna get rich off farming. Unless the calls maybe, because you got all the land. So their intent was to augment their costs with an opportunity to generate some income from some land, some higher income than what they're able to generate right now, while still operating the farm. As I mentioned before, you have zoning in place where that is the first line of defense for any other small-scale solar project, and I know everyone here is gonna say this is not small, but I will tell you in comparison to the larger 94C Article 10 projects that would not even come to this town for your input, they would simply go to the state and the state would override all of you. A smaller project like ours does have to follow all of your laws, primary one, which is zoning. No other project would be able to be built outside of that light pink and dark pink area without a zoning change. And I can already tell from the tone of the town thus far, and even the zoning board, that a zoning change is basically never gonna happen.
Well, you made the comment that you own the property, you can do what you want to do it. I tried putting a business in my property and I got turned down through the town. So you can't do whatever you want on your own property without their permission.
For sure, and that
Okay.
wasn't my intent to say you could do
You're
whatever.
trying to get their permission to do this and they don't want to give it to you.
They wrote a law for
Exactly.
long before you came here, they wrote a law. They did a study, they surveyed, they did all their research, they put a good law together so that we wouldn't have to be going through this right now. But what you're trying to do is sell them something that it's already spelled out how they're gonna make it work. I mean,
Didn't anybody hear the new proposition from Albany regarding the use of your property, and if you have a building on it, what you can use that building for, where you can put it in to as many apartments as you want to without having to go through the planning board? Am I the only one that heard that?
That's the ability to have a secondary property, and basically the state is trying to overrun our zoning.
Yeah, see? And again, when you've got two parcels, anytime they want to, they could sell that parcel, and it's not theirs.
All right, just on as far as the scope of the law, this law was modeled after a nationwide law. It's been done many places. There is, I know the town of Alexander is word for word our law. They just took our law and they copied it. So it's not that unusual. So I would have to disagree with your statement that it's abnormal. But it does protect our people.
And our health. I mean, we haven't even gotten on that subject.
So,
10,
is
15 years down the road.
Is it safe to say that the town's position moving forward is that there's no plan to amend any of the laws? I mean, might as well just save time and energy here instead of going in circles.
I think it's pretty safe to say that.
Okay. I mean, Frank, trust me,
The
I
rest
don't
of the
want to
board
keep
can
beating my head
disagree
against the
with
wall here, and I don't want to, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. And, if we do a project, I don't want to be coming into a town that already hates me, and every time you see me, it's like, oh, this jerk again, so.
We don't hate you. You got a job to do, you're a salesman.
What would
You're here
Stafford
to
get
sell.
from it? If it came in, what would Stafford get?
Some of the people in the community we had lower energy rates.
Yep, so the first one
Yeah,
would
like
be,
10%, so that's $90 a year for me.
yep, and then on top of
Not
that
worth
would
it for
be
me.
a pilot program, so the town would get a certain percentage of the pilot.
So it's like $60,000, that's not worth your,
I
that's
thought
like,
it was 10,000.
Actually, it's
It's
only a third of that.
oh, it's only a third of that.
Yeah.
Well, then that's
Yeah.
even worse.
Well, what the town,
The
what
Oh,
the
yeah,
town,
the town, the
state,
county, the state.
Who's making the money on it besides, we're not making any, so who's making all the money?
Well, we're gonna save that $90 on our electric
Yeah.
bill. If I turn it down 5
People that are
degrees.
renting you the
We might
land
need
and
that down the road.
the people that are renting you the land and the people that are selling the solar.
I'm not gonna sit here and say that, as far as I'm concerned, it's a done deal. I think you know how I feel, but I'm not gonna open myself up to any kind of lawsuit. So I'm not gonna say it, but you know how I feel.
I think he knows how we all feel.
It's fair, trust me, I've been in towns where they've done the same thing, and we asked at the end of the day, is this something you want in town? They said no, and we pulled the project. I would prefer not to go that route. You know, I think I'm the fourth or fifth solar company that's come to the woods to look for a project because of the capacity. If our project was built, we would be the last one based on capacity. I can say that with relative confidence based on the conversations we've had before about the power lines and the accessibility of it, also your zoning laws. So I guess I would leave here today simply saying, if there is a way to work through some of the differences and find a common ground, I'm all for it. Happy to do workshops or anything.
Can I ask a question? I need some clarity on this. I want to hear it from you. This project is being partly funded by the state. Is that correct?
No, not right
You're
now,
not
it's
getting
not.
any state money.
So last year, they ended all of the New York Sun programs. They just finished the comment period for them. They're gonna release whatever the comments are at the end of March or April, and they may start up the New York Sun funding again. But for the last year and a half, there has been zero funding for any project. If this, and the only way you can apply for a project is to get an approval from the town. If some funding was provided by the state, it would be based on our production. It would take anywhere from 3 to 5 years for us to get all of that funding. But the benefit of receiving that funding is that in turn, it would then free up capital to increase potential pilot payments or community host payments, which your town attorney did send us a letter that if we pursue a pilot, you would like to see a community host or a host community benefit agreement. And that portion of it would be 100% to the town. If we're able to get state funding, like I mentioned, it alleviates some of the burden for the construction costs, and then gives us the opportunity to pass that savings along. And obviously in this town, that's gonna be something we have to make sure we come prepared with the very best offer we can give. Because that's clearly a sticking point.
But again, the reason why
I have a
we
question.
write the laws
If
the
you
way
didn't
we
have a
do
railroad
is
track
we've
going
watched
past your property,
how the
would you
industry.
have this offer?
Sorry.
Pardon? Phil?
You have a railroad track going past your property, correct?
Yeah.
If it wasn't there, would you still get the same offer from this man?
Yes, has nothing to do with the
Sure, it
railroads.
goes right.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
No, it's the power lines.
All
Right, exactly, the power lines that go down down the
There's no power
railroad.
lines
there's
down
no
there.
power
right?
lines.
There's none at all.
No, it's
All
along,
right.
it's along the main road.
Right,
You want to direct your comments to the,
to the board.
go ahead.
All right, so again, and I said this to you when you came the first time. When you look at how these have been applied, when we look at the solar farm at the Five Corners, when we look at the preliminary maps in Byron, where you have people boxed on 2 sides, 3 sides, 4 sides by solar panels. That's not what we want for our town. So we wrote our law in conjunction with a study group that, yes, included farmers, included engineers, included a cross-section of our population to make sure we didn't have that. So that's where we are with it. If you can fit something within our law, well, more power to you. But
And what if the law is found to be unenforceable or not within New York State code?
well, then you got a lot of people you're gonna have to turn the law back on. It's not just us. At least from what I've seen.
Any further discussion on this subject? hearing anything. I don't, we'll leave everything as it was at the beginning of the meeting. We didn't make any changes and.
I have one other quick question. What are you going to the zoning board on Monday for? You said you're going to the zoning board on Monday? To ask them to change something?
No,
To change the
that's
zoning?
the normal legal process.
Oh, okay.
They're in charge of zoning laws. So that's their purview, is to review area variances and applications. So
Oh,
that's,
okay.
that's who we have to go to.
Okay.
Enough said? Anything to be added to the agenda here that we haven't done? Steve, you got anything you wanna?
Just a question for executive session here.
Okay, Ron?
Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. I've been watching for the numbers to come out on what the tax rates are. So for 2022 tax year, we are the third lowest in the county. We, both Darien at 48 cents and Pembroke at 47 cents is cheaper than our 89 cents. Going in alphabetical order, you have Alabama at 310, Alexander at 438 per thousand.
Beginning to sound like
Well, yeah, we have 11 bucks per thousand town taxes on the farm. Batavia, $2.50 a thousand. Bergen, $2.34 a thousand. Bethany, $3.99 per thousand. Byron, $4.92 per thousand. Elba actually went down a little bit, $4.14 per thousand.
And what was Darien and Corfu? I'm sorry.
Darien was like 40, they're both in the 40-cent range.
They got Six Flags, that's
Yeah,
what
that's
helps
what I was
them.
gonna say, they got Six Flags out.
Okay, Leroy is the next closest to us at $1.09. Oakfield at $5.89. Now here's an interesting one. They have a 49 cent per thousand fire tax rate. They're the same people that were not able to provide fire protection to their town. Well, I wonder why, at 49 cents. Pavilion, $1.44. Already covered Pembroke, and Stafford at 89. So we're consistent. They're both Pembroke and Darien have taxable items we don't have. As far as so we're keeping with the other towns that are on the thruway corridor that I think we're all suffering from the downturn in ticket revenue. So, but
We should build an amusement park.
Build a what?
An amusement park.
I'll call it Seven Flags.
No, just kidding.
Casino?
that's all I got. Just looked up the numbers is all.
Almost, done. Just need to get an executive session.
No, they come at that time?
At 20 minutes to 6 tonight, I got a call from Eric Weiss. The easements have all been settled in Water 12, and he's hoping that it'll be they'll be on the street in a couple of weeks.
Do they, putting it out to bid, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Anything
8
on
years,
pipe?
not bad.
Well, he said the cost of pipe is coming down from what it was. He didn't say if it's absolutely necessary, we may have to go to plastic. And if that happens, why we'll have to have establish a fund for doing the repair work. See, with the pipe that we're putting in the ground now, anything happens, we call the water authority to take care of it, no questions asked. So I don't know how that will turn out.
Now, I know hasn't Virgin had to rebid theirs?
I don't,
Because they're doing
Yeah.
it town-wide, and
Yeah.
and something blew up there, as far as, because the costs
yeah, I think
spiked.
they settled it though.
All right.
I don't know.
They got a stack of pipe over there in Virgin, I don't know that, they already bought their pipe.
Yeah, if they're on hold, maybe we just buy it from them. Of course, they probably paid a lot.
Well, they, yeah. Barb, you got anything?
No.
Bob?
No.
Jim? Okay.
I have one
Do we
last
wanna do the
question.
bills?
Oh, wait a minute, okay.
Oh, I have one last question, which will probably fall into these bills things. In December, we had talked about this New York class, about the investment of our money and stuff like that, and it seemed at that point that the town was just good with handling it ourselves. And then all of a sudden, I see in January, the meeting I didn't come to, that we decided to join New York class. Can someone tell me what changed and how much money we invested in that?
We haven't invested. No.
Well, you joined, right? I thought that was a resolution that, did I misunderstand the,
It's no joining, it's just opened your option.
well, I thought it said you had to join it. I thought
No,
that was the big thing.
It's not a membership thing.
It's not?
just
Okay.
It's
That's
just
how I
like
understood it.
picking what bank you wanna go to. Gives you another option. That's all it does.
There hasn't been, over the years, there hasn't been that much difference between, I mean, we're not getting much interest on our money, to be sure, but it wouldn't, you have to lock it up for a year, 6 months or something like that. but-
Okay, so you didn't invest any of the money, I mean, you didn't give anything to New York class, okay. Sort of misunderstood that then, okay.
Do we want to do the bills before executive session?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, let's see, this is regular town. I make a motion that we pay general fund number 2 for a total of $40,687.54, with the big hitter being $20,000 for the bookkeeping agreement.
All right, that was what, 40 what?
$40,687.54.
And this is by Panic. Second?
Second.
Phyllis, could you just wait a minute? I gotta ask you one quick question.
Okay.
All right,
Okay, we got motion by Councilman Panic, second by Councilman Deason to approve general fund abstract 2 in the amount of $40,687.54. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
I make a motion, we do, let's see, highway number 2, and this is a little bit different. It's for $20,728.65. Now, it was originally filled out for $27,739.62, but they duplicated a $10.99 invoice.
What's the, give me the original number again?
So the original amount was $27,739.62, and what the actual amount should be is $27,728.63. It's a $10.99 difference.
There's a second to that?
Second. And there were no real big hitters in there. So,
So motion by Councilman Panic, second by Councilman Mullen, to pay highway abstract number 2 in the amount of
I gotta call you guys about that invoice for
$20,728.65.
the tree,
All in favor,
tree
say
ceremony.
Aye.
Get some detail on it.
Opposed?
Make a motion to
Because you
pay
guys actually
general
have
fund
the stuff that was
number
bought.
14
Yeah, and
for
what I'm thinking is-
$24,038 even.
Let's see, say that again.
$24,038.
Sorry.
No sense, right?
No sense.
So that's.
And that's for the Office of the State Controller, Controller.
That goes back to 2021 then?
Yes.
Is there a
This is
second to that?
fines and
Second.
fees.
Motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Pacer to pay water fund abstract number 2 in the amount of $24,038. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Make a motion to pay capital projects number 14 for $3,871.60.
What are those capital
And a
projects?
big part of this was Clark Patterson Lee, that was $2,970.
Water District.
For Water District 12.
How much was that again?
$3,871.60.
Almost 200 grand invested.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was it, 197,000?
Yeah, well, I know it's 3,500.
Well, and there's gonna be parts of the town left without water.
Oh, yeah, this
There's
is.
still lots of them.
This is the end of the road as far as I can see. I mean, there's others I'd like to do, you know.
Oh gosh, you're not gonna tell those 5 people over there on Westcott Road, they're not gonna get their water on.
Well, I'd
That might
like
be
to, certainly like to do that, and that might be
Well,
doable.
that's
but-
with Bethany, right?
Yeah,
It might be an in-house.
Mine's gonna be with Bethany too.
Maybe
Yeah.
July.
Is yours with Bethany now? Where are you?
Not
What
yet.
road? Oh,
It's gonna be, but it's not yet.
okay.
my
we got-
brother's on that road, he's part of Bethany.
We got a motion to deal with here, motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Pacer to pay capital project, number 14 in the amount of $3,871.60. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Make a motion to pay Fire Protection District 1 for number 2 on the abstract for $406,000. $406,000.
And this is for what?
The fire district. The
We
fire
gotta put
department.
that payment for.
Sorry.
Payment for the
Payment for the fire.
fire department.
Oh, yeah, oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Have you discussed with the fire department any of their fundraising ideas?
Well, they've got something in the works, but, the last
I
meeting.
can't believe they lost money. Who loses money on a chicken barbecue? What went wrong there?
People don't come.
But they sold out.
And how-
They sold out the
was it?
tickets.
$406,000.
It's crazy.
It's good for John Deere.
Second.
And if they cut through a fusion, this will all be junk.
Okay, motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Pacer to pay the fire protection, the fire department, of the amount of $406,000. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Make a motion to pay water fund number 2 for $98,047.78.
Second.
This is for all your water districts. 1, 2, 8, 11. Along with
And how
Batavia,
much?
Byron, and Leary.
How much was that?
$98,047.78.
And that's the total we pay all year long, all year long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't recall ever doing it this way, that's right. Okay, motion by Councilman Deason, second by Councilman Pacer, to pay water fund, abstract of $98,047.78. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Yeah, there weren't many invoices in that pile, but they sure,
Added up to a lot.
you can have my puny stuff.
Sound works.
Is there a motion to adjourn at 8:51?
So,
Second, well, and then enter executive session, right?
Yeah, well, that's,
You mean, is there a motion for executive session?
well, we need to
afterwards.
adjourn the regular meeting first. And who made that motion?
No, we go the other way around.
No, we've always done it where we've gone into executive session and then,
Right.
came out of executive session
And
and then adjourned.
because we're still on meeting.
Anything in the executive session that's gonna get voted on after?
No.
No?
No.
Well, that's the point, we're still, if we go to executive session, we're still, all right, that's the way you wanna do it?
That's the way we have.
So I'm gonna make a motion.
I always thought we got out of there.